Yo, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another market trading recap. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. It's honestly been a new kind of series for me to be able to share my recaps with you guys. I did a lot of previous trade analysis, but never really got to kind of reflect on you guys exactly my entries and exits pretty consistently. And this has been an insane journey for me. I want to document it more importantly because on my next video, you guys are going to see how all these profits I was able to generate with just a small investment of $300. It was a small account challenge that I started with all my guys here at the Discord. I want to bring this into perspective. I deal with many individuals that, are either very high performing income individuals or they're individuals just trying to add extra income. So a lot of times the positive income they get is great for them, but the negatives can severely impact their month-to-month expenses and their cost of living. So to avoid losses and also increase the, I guess you can say, window and just the stability of the environment for people to learn it. Because once you increase capital, of course, everyone, like I said in my last video, they get into trading with expectations to make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week, 10,000 a month, right? They want the money. Everyone that trades online wants the money. They show the money, so you get into it for the money. But when you begin to risk capital that really does mean a lot to you, and you take these losses financially back to back, bro, it impacts you negatively, emotionally, and oftentimes turns people away from the markets. You will see people lose maybe a couple thousand, couple $100 and never want to touch the markets again. So to avoid this and also allow individuals to make significant returns, right? To make, hey, $150 in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes an hour, like that's cool at the beginning, right? It doesn't pay a car note, your rent, but it's just compounding positive reinforcement for you to continue on your journey, for you to, hey, build that confidence to maybe expose more capital, make more returns with the same exact percentages. And that's how you want to build yourself up as a trader. To share this progress with you guys on this small account challenge, has really meant a lot to me. A lot of my guys in the Discord were able to profit significantly with us on this journey, and it's something that I do for my guys here. I do understand the concept of making thousands of dollars with thousands of dollars. Like if you start an account with 10,000, scaling that to 100,000 is, of course, a challenge in itself. But the numbers wise, I think as a retail trader and you're trading to create more income in your life, to see a 20% gain on $10,000 is going to be a lot more, you can say, enticing to take off the table. You're going to want to pull it, sell the position, and not think about it twice because it's $2,000. Now, if we go back and only make 20% on, let's say, $100, it's only going to be $20. Same percentage, but do you really want to take $20? Not really. And that's the psychology that comes with trading with larger capital, and it changes you, it develops you as a trader. And I think it's a really big step that I oftentimes tell people to work towards, not always jump into it, especially if you are a high income individual. I know people making well over $20,000 a month, and they get into this thinking that their money is going to buy them their success. It's a lonely journey, man. Markets don't respect people that have money. They don't respect people that are smart or dumb. They really don't really care. It's a lot of risk that you are exposing yourself to, and if you think the market's going to move your way, you're going to have a harsh reality no matter where you're from. So, I share that with people to be patient with themselves. It's okay to, let's say, take some losses at the beginning, see your journey unfold a little bit longer than you expected, right? So here on this SPY trade that we have in front of me, I want to break it down to you guys because it's a textbook setup scenario. And this kind of risk management that I applied, it's basically all in the setup. I knew that share price was reaching borderline all-time highs, and you can see SPY last week, right, had these three almost back-to-back days of just pure green. We started at 732, rallied up to 750. And as an ETF that tracks the broader market, you're talking about a lot of share money, capital, market cap gain. There's a lot of money going into these markets to make it jump that significantly. It's almost like, if I'm not mistaken, like a 2% move right there. So that's very aggressive. And seeing markets, right, rip at 744. I remember market open of this day, I was beating myself up because I didn't take the calls. They were probably like plus 300% by 8:40 a.m. So, bro, imagine you start your day with, let's say, $1,000. You put $1,000 in a trade, and then boom, 8 a.m. you have 3,000 on top of your 1,000. You made $4,000 in about 2 hours since market open. Bro, you go about your day, man. Bills are taken care of. You could go for a walk all day at the beach, spend time with your kids. Life's made. And that's the move that I was very, I guess, upset that I missed. So I was here watching for this top. When are buyers going to exhaust? You know, you see them come out aggressive. Some sellers here at 745, then push up. Whenever something reaches all-time highs, it always finds a point where sellers step in and cash in. People always want to take their money off the table. Not everyone is sitting just pumping all the time. And that's where people that are beginning to trade, when they run into this parabolic movement, these very aggressive vertical movements, they're like, yo, it's going to the moon, buy, 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 buy. And they run into this FOMO, but there's a different psychology you want to adapt to there. Instead of chasing that train, understand that that train will come to a stop and it'll actually start to regress. So I waited for that, and I noticed we had some significant, it took me 4 minutes to identify resistance here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see 748.87, almost at 749 level. Right here, arguably. Near that 749 level, just resistance, resistance, resistance. So on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minute, I noticed, hey, this resistance is holding up pretty like strong with a very aggressive overbought scenario. So now let's go ahead and target this retracement, right? And the exit was a little bit difficult. It was something where I just identified it starting to bounce as a support level. Of course, you had support here, but you can kind of see, hey, this one traced down, traced down, traced down. Honestly, me knowing that I was in this position, I felt more confident holding towards the end of the day just because of how aggressive this initial buy at the beginning of market open was. So I had a kind of internal feeling that below this support, once we cracked it, now I knew once we cracked, because let me paint this, I guess, context to you guys right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, right, before we really broke below. 8 minutes, this was just consolidating there. It pushed up higher, yep, but at the top of that, you have support at the bottom. At the top, you had a resistance. If resistance wasn't was establishing itself, first and foremost, right? We're establishing a resistance right after this sell-off into this buy. That means that sellers are loading up right here. They're no longer waiting at the top to sell up here at the 749. They're now selling at the 748 and a quarter. Boom. Now, psychologically, I know, hey, there's sellers literally right here at 748. Do I run the risk of holding for it to potentially go back for 749? I'd bet my left nut if it went above 749, just because of how aggressive that buying was. It's kind of like getting tired after a workout. You know, you come off 3 days of green, not 2, not 1, 1, 2, 3 days of aggressive, nonstop rallying of green. You don't think the profit taking on that is going to be significant? Bro, look at it. Next morning, Thursday into Friday, just aftermarket sold off. Boom, from 747 to 738. A whole $10 in aftermarket. And everyone that was trading couldn't even react to that. Never to see their money again. Look at that. Complete sell-off. And what I am describing is the real, you can say, micro picture here. Look at the macro sell-off, the bigger picture. It wasn't just 3 days of green. It was now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days of green. Like Christmas, bro. And then look, after those 12 days, what happens? It tops, and you go from 749 to 731. Swing traders, intraday traders that play longer expirations banked on this. You're talking about maybe a 300-400% move. Longer time frame, right? Not the returns that we generally hear as day traders that are like much higher in shorter amounts of time, but the risk is a lot higher in what we do compared to day traders. But now you guys see it. It applies in the short term, in the long term. When there's aggressive overbuying, there will be some selling that steps in. So going into this setup here, I seen that it was overbought. We caught the top, and I'm holding here at 9:45 a.m. seeing support and resistance collide. Buyers and sellers going head to head here. Who's going to win? And as we began to see, that resistance establish, boom, little by little, I'm telling myself in my head, buyers are going to exhaust. Buyers are going to exhaust 3 days in a row. Giving me conviction, giving me confidence, which as a trader is like really the best thing you can have, right? Of course, there's going to be times where you have that and you still lose, but at least you have some sort of reassurance to allow you to, one, enter, and allow you to stay in it. So that's why I went ahead and rode this position out below support. And then now, once we broke below that support, I knew don't be greedy below this level, because by the grace of God, it happened, And now there's no previous price action for me to relate to. I'm still far beyond it. So hey, at 7:46, I'm in a 0-day expiration. Am I going to hold going for 7:45? No. The second I seen buyers start to accumulate below, because first of all, this was a battle. Support right here was a battle. This was not easy to overtake. It took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 minutes to break that support. If buyers weren't strong and that support wasn't, strong, hot, if we were very far from buyers' entries, what do I mean by that? If buyers were waiting to buy way down here, it wouldn't have took 8 minutes for us to go below that. It would have dropped in the first 3 minutes. But buyers were up here still. So if we drop maybe another 25 cents, hey, do I still expect these buyers to just give up? No, they're still present in the market. So, hey, I got below support, snagged it. And at the end of this trade, I was able to go ahead and generate a return on SPY 0 DTE of around $620 for an 81% return right here. So this is the trade right here, $620 in return with an investment of $760 to walk away with $1380, and that was 620% with an 81% return. Also, the percentage return, that was another part to my exit. 81%, bro, that's a blessing. You're almost close to 100%. What else do you really need? I always tell people the rule book, the guide, anything above 40, 50, you're moving capital at an enormous rate. And if you could even compound that, I've said it multiple times in my videos, you could compound 50% for what? 60 days straight. Bro, you'll probably make $1 million. And it's crazy. It's a hard number, right? But there's people out here that do it. And they have been on 50% or maybe 30% APD, I guess, average return per day. And that right there, that's where you really take trading to the next level. And that's where you guys want to be at. Don't think about, hey, I want to take 5,000 and 20,000 in a day. No, think about just compounding percentages throughout trading days, and you will build wealth pretty quickly. But just manage that risk. I think the same way you could scale up is the same way you could just blow it all down. One wrong trade with all your capital is really all it takes. And that was my beginner mistake that I warned you guys about in my last video. Full porting. Avoid all of that. Protect your capital. Be smart in these markets. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching this market recap. I hope to help as many of you guys as possible through these videos. All this is really my free work to you guys. I don't get paid for these videos. I take a lot of my time editing them and making them, and it's really all just free to help you guys. If you guys want to take it a step further, join the Discord and work with us here at SoCal Trading Group to make results that you guys have seen many of my clients make on social media. Some of the results look like this. These guys all make multiple thousands a day, just literally. We all started as strangers, which is the craziest part. We all started as strangers on social media. People watch my content. We built relationships, and they hit me up and joined. And little by little, man, they began to gain a better understanding. now generating more profits. And just like that, the transfer of knowledge happened, and now we have a community here to help as many people as possible. And I'm glad I have built this, because I didn't have it when I first started trading. So to be able to build it for someone else means a lot. So I hope to help as many of you guys as possible. Thank you guys once again for watching. Jerry Trades with SoCal Trading Group, over and out.